Let me address the questions by group. First, on ASEAN 2026, I'm not at liberty, unfortunately, to disclose the theme of ASEAN 2026. That will be the province of our Secretary of Foreign Affairs and the President of the Philippines. But it will follow, definitely, with logic, Malaysia's theme of inclusion, inclusivity. I believe ASEAN members take special pains to have a follow-on for sustainability and continuity of themes set by leaderships of the current countries hosts for the following hosts. The other question would be the ASEAN solution to the South China Sea. I think I won't go that far. But what I can say is that ASEAN should not allow other parties to define what ASEAN centrality means, and not to use ASEAN's perceived action or inaction as a wedge to drive divisions amongst us. And we also had a consensus that we are evolving common positions. And the mere fact that we have members in ASEAN with overlapping claims, but we deal with each other in a cooperative and peaceful manner shows one thing. Because of our behavior, we trust each other not to take unfair advantage of the situation. And this is the spirit that must continue in ASEAN. Next would be if the squad is open to admitting more members. I believe that as the squad matures and gains momentum because of the synergy and the purpose against shared threat actor, a lot of people who are perceived that they are or may be victimized by the aggressive behavior of that threat actor will want to join. And then we cross the bridge when we get there. On defense cooperation with Europe, certainly, because knowledge knows no boundaries, technology knows no boundaries. And as I said earlier, we know the challenges, the threats facing us. We know who are the actors behind it, and the smaller states have an interest to cooperate, to preserve our territorial integrity and sovereignty. And this is the spirit of multilateralism. It should know no borders. However, there should be a common understanding that we fight for the UN Charter and UNCLOS. Now, to our Chinese interlocutors, I shall address you collectively. And thank you for the propaganda spills disguised as questions. First, the comparison between the Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam. Let us not forget that while we are members of ASEAN, we are sovereign countries, each with its own territorial integrity and sovereignty. And I am sure that if what China is doing to the Philippines is done to Malaysia or to any ASEAN country, you would see a different reaction. And certainly as an ASEAN brother, the Philippines will stand up with that ASEAN brother in time of need, in support and in defense of what is international law and UNCLOS, as as members of UNCLOS, we are all committed to support it. On the dialogue with China, unfortunately, in my personal opinion, the fact that the question was asked in the way it does, it engenders a deficit of trust in China's words vis-a-vis its actions. I just look back to 1995 on a place called Mischief Reef. There were a few bamboo structures erected there, and China said that these were temporary havens for fisherfolk. Now you have an artificial military island, heavily militarized. China says that it has peaceful intentions. Why does it continue to deny the Philippines its rightful provenance under international law and UNCLOS? And as proof of this, we do not stand alone. No country in the world supports the 9-dash line claim of China, or the idea that waters within this 9-dash line are internal waters of China. Several countries in the world, no less than 50, have joined the Philippines in condemning China's behavior in the South China Sea. None have agreed with China, and none has condemned the Philippines for standing up against China in the face of a threat to its territorial integrity and sovereignty, for which I thank the members in this chamber right now for your support. And thus, for dialogue to be effective, it must be coupled with trust. And China has a lot of trust building to do to be an effective negotiating partner in dispute settlement. We have to call a spade a spade. And that's what we see, and that is the biggest stumbling block to dispute resolution or dialogue with China. That deficit of trust, which I think any rational person or any person that is not ideologically biased with freedom of thought and freedom of speech will agree with me. And lastly, external policy sometimes is a mirror of internal conditions, and vice versa. I, for one, cannot trust a country which imposes, represses its own people. I hope I have answered the propaganda to the satisfaction of everyone in this room.
Thank you very much. We'll take, I think, 3 and come back and finish at 1 minute to 11. So quick ones. First from Vikram Singh. Vitrapat.
Thanks, John. This is a question for all 3 panelists. The impact of disruptions across cyberspace, cyber operations, disinformation campaigns, and submarine cable disruptions disproportionately affect medium to small states, as I'm sure you're all aware. Given that many of these developments stem from the actions and decisions of large hegemonic states, what short-term practical steps are your states pursuing to improve your overall collective resilience to these disruptions?
And the second from Sothirakpo of Cambodia. Rather like yesterday, I clicked too quickly. So let me go to Robin Michael Garcia, and then I hope the other will come back.
Hello.
Yes, Robin, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Your Excellencies. I'm Robin from the Philippines. Thank you for your compelling remarks this morning. But my question is about Europe and its involvement in Asia. And we know that Europe is increasingly integrating Asia and its national security conception. In fact, culminating in the inauguration of multiple Indo-Pacific strategies, including Lithuania's. But Europe seems to be ambivalent about China. In fact, President Macron in his keynote a couple of days ago here remarked that China is a friend, despite the fact that he recognizes the ambitions of China. So my question is for the panel and for the defense minister from Lithuania. How do you envision Europe's involvement in Asia, and how should Europe look at the international ambitions of China? Is China a threat or a friend to Europe? Thank you.
And finally, again from Cambodia, Sothirak Po.
Thank you very much, Moderator. I have a question to the Honorable Secretary of Defense of the Philippines with regard to your call about reforming the UN. I find it very interesting. And this is with regard to the weakening of the so-called liberal international rule-based order that we are talking about. My observation is that big country, superpower particularly, are the culprit of the decline of the international rule-based order, not small state. Therefore, when you call for a reform of the UN and then you put into questions with regard to the veto power of the Perm 5, I would like to seek your view with regard to the 10 veto power of ASEAN. Precisely why I say this is because there is brewing tension between Cambodia and Thailand again. One soldier, Cambodian, was shot dead. So next year, Philippines will be the chair. Would Philippines willing to act as a mediator? I'm questioning the viability of the ASEAN dispute settlement mechanism between and among states. I think it's time that ASEAN have to reinforce the spirits of ADM Plus is put in place. There is a mechanism, the ARF. Is it still working? I would like to seek your view on these issues. Thank you
very much. So we'll give each of the speakers a crisp 90 seconds. So I think from Thailand it was cyber operations, for Lithuania it was the view of China, and for the Philippines it was ASEAN mediation in effect. So cyber for you, sir.
As on cyber issue, is global threats issue. We do understand that there are a lot of positive uses of cyber in increasing capacity of each country, but it can be exploited and being used in terrorism. I do believe that all countries do realize on the importance of cyber. Thailand will focus on strengthening our cooperation with our ally countries to increase the capacity building. We still need the kind support from all our ally countries in capacity building and strengthening the cooperation with potential advancement. I have lucky enough to have the bilateral meeting with my counterparts, and we have coordinate and cooperate to increase our cooperation on this issue to help further strengthen our capacity building, and I do believe that we can tackling cyber threats through our cooperation on defense industry cooperation will help a lot in tackling this problem in the future. Thank you.
Actually can combine answers to both questions because cyber was also addressed to Lithuania, I think in 60 seconds. So we are building national capability from digital resilience to certain technical capacity, defending our critical infrastructure and working with our partners. From cybersecurity exercises, of which we are really proud to have Amber Mist, where countries of this region are taking more and more participation. And I think this is also sharing our experience, working together and exercising together is crucial. And then the answer to the second question, I mentioned that 2 out of 3 perpetrators in Lithuania, in our region, and in this region are the same. Do you think that friends have a practice to attack other friends? I think that answers the question about China, doesn't it?
Gilberto.
Yes, just on the cyber resilience, I think beyond the technical side, I think the best defense on cyber resilience is discernment by the common people and user, the ability to spot what is real or not. Now, secondly, I totally agree with the gentleman from Cambodia that much attention has been put on the declaration of conduct, which proves one thing. The imminence of Chinese activities causes much concern among ASEAN members that want to deal with China. But nevertheless, we have to settle our disputes in the spirit of ASEAN and an ASEAN dispute resolution mechanism and seeing tangible outcomes from that. Precisely because we have overlapping claims, and the fact is we are willing to work in a spirit of trust on settling these disputes, and we want to see this mechanism work. I totally agree that it should be made a forefront of our own internal resilience as a complement to resilience against external factors.
Well, thank you very much indeed, and I hope everyone of our delegates will thank our panelists for their strategic frankness today. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Dr. William.